What are you doing?
Nothing.
There's something wrong with Joe.
What can I say? He provides great material to work off of. The left loves to work off of Trump. It's even easier to work off of Biden, I think. But look, hey, if you're just joining us, I will say real quick, if you see the redness going on here or any crazy quick cuts, I don't like the cuts or anything like that I mentioned earlier. Allergies or something is going on, but I'm here for you guys. So if you see me in and out, that's what's going on. And if you've been watching up to this far, I don't think I've had to do that very many times. Thankfully, I've been trying to keep it under control, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me this far. But we'll get into this because there's absolutely something wrong with Joe. There's a lot wrong with Joe, to be fair, right? But this is, I hope this is not one of those articles that's going to bounce around on me, but this is Variety. President Biden's late night appearance indicates the tough road ahead. There was something perhaps apt about Joe Biden's appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Monday night being pegged to the show's 10th anniversary as vice president in 2014. Biden had appeared on the show's first broadcast, and now he marked the passage of a decade. It was a booking that made sense, but that also called attention to Biden's most crucial liability in 2024, the fact that time has passed. Questions about Biden's age and acuity have intensified in recent months, even as the man himself pointed out on Meyers' couch. His likely opponent in the November election, Donald Trump, is of comparable age. Appearing for an interview with Meyers after a presidency defined, especially in recent months, by a press-shy approach, Biden was stronger on questions of politics than on television entertainment. That's always been true, certainly in contrast to his two immediate predecessors. Biden has long lacked the ability to bend the medium of TV to his ends. In a first segment in which he was flanked by Meyers and by Amy Poehler, Biden called to mind the 2010 episode of Saturday Night Live in which host Betty White was supported by an all-star team of guests who did the real comic heavy lifting. He made the game attempts to riff on the so-called Dark Brandon persona constructed for him online, but appeared ill at ease. Hypothetical comparisons don't flatter President Biden. In a comparable setting, Obama might have caught the joke, lobbed it back, and then pivoted into whatever he was there to discuss. And Trump, by this point in his term, would never have been invited on the late night. This is true. Specifically, but certainly did not struggle in making whatever news program had given him a platform into a blistering and strange referendum on whatever topic he chose. Hey, it is what it is. Here, Meyers and Poehler were handing the president a gift of sorts, the opportunity to play into a long-running joke that is amiable and aloof personality conceals a mastermind. He seemed a beat behind in catching the joke each time and missed the opportunity to use it to say anything more substantive. What is Dark Brandon's agenda, his master plan? That joke remained untold. A second segment after Poehler left the stage placed the president in firmer footing, though even his most ardent defenders may need to come to terms with the fact that certain of his long-held rhetorical traits like trailing off and stopping himself when he spoke angrily about Trump, as he did twice, can read now as his having lost a step, and his penchant for misstatements as when he referred to his plan for the rest of this year as the 2020 agenda remains an Achilles heel. It's a long article. I'm going to go ahead and stop. Let's go ahead and look at some of the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. The links are going to be in the description below, but I did want to pull it up on YouTube instead of clipping it because I want to kind of go through it and narrate certain parts of it. There's two videos, like it was mentioning, one with Amy Poehler being there, one after she leaves, and we'll just kind of skip around through it and give some feedback on it. So let's get the first one fired up. Let's start about right here. Shocked that he's in public. Look at him. He's going toward the drummer. Who walks in and goes to the drummer while they're actively playing a song? Shall I sit down? No one told me. All right, yeah. So who goes over to the drummer and says, "Hey, I want to go hang out over here and talk to you and see what's going on while you're in the middle of playing a song"? That's not normal, right? He walked in and immediately didn't know where to walk. I guarantee it. Somebody had to steer him in the right direction. He finally made it over to Seth. He made it over to Amy. He's like, "I think I've seen you before." And, do I sit down? I don't know what to do. I don't have my cue cards in front of me. It says, "You sit, you walk in, you speak to." Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go look it up. He has to have cue cards to tell him literally everything to do. Not surprised if you had a reverse camera shot here. You can see cue cards and his team just surrounding the place, making sure he knew where to look, what to say, what to do, and everything like that. And the guy just looks super frail, super duper frail. Let's jump ahead here to about there.
Ask about that, but there's something that I've been it just speaks to the era we live in now. There's a Dark Brandon conspiracy meme. And this is something that you seem to have a lot of fun with. You've co-opted. You've co-opted Dark Brandon. This is a yard sign. And do you enjoy playing around with the Dark Brand meme?
No, I resent the hell out of it.
Okay.
Oh, you stood over there. Let me touch you.
Now,
All right, look, this is obviously something that was planned and strategically done, make him look cool or, whatever. I don't know. He's putting on the glass. You saw him pulling out the glasses before he even got to the question. This was all staged. He knew what he was doing. It's just like Bill Clinton back in the day playing the saxophone. It's an attempt to humanize him and make him more appealing to the audience and make him seem cool. These people that do these shows, whether it's late night or it's the mainstream media, CBS, NBC, these people are not unbiased. They are absolutely pushing for this guy to be the president again. God only knows why. All I can say is they hate Trump that bad that they're going to act like they don't see what's going on with him. But we'll continue. There's a couple more on here. I think 2 more we're going to look at, and then we'll go to the other video. Let's go. Let's keep going from here.
my favorite one recently is there are 18% of Americans, according to recent polling, have believe that you and Taylor Swift are actually working in cahoots. And after the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, you posted this on social media and you wrote, "Just like we drew it up." Now, I have you on the hot spot here. Can you confirm or deny that there is an active conspiracy between you and Miss Swift?
Where are you getting this information?
I feel like there's something going on with him wearing the glasses, not just a cool thing. Maybe you're supposed to put them on and then take them off. He forgot to take them off. Maybe he's blocking, that he's looking at somebody and they don't want his eyes to wander too much or something like that. The glasses still being on bothers me. Something's going on with that. But yeah, he didn't post that to his social media. And I know you'll say no president posts. Trump posted to his social media directly all the time. Trump was one of the most personable presidents, as in, like, he reached out to the people. He spoke to the people. He didn't care about the news networks. He wasn't going to wait for them to interview him. He went straight to the people through social media more than any other president ever has. Of course, technology has allowed that to be the thing. But these guys, this guy doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know anything about social media. The only social bone this guy's got in his body is for underage girls. All right, the last one on here, and we'll move to the next video.
Floor is actually the top of the earth.
He's leaving. He's gonna go. I told you to stop telling people that.
He doesn't know what's going on.
So if that's wrong, don't spoil it for me.
All right, so Parks and Rec was about optimism.
Look, he doesn't know what's going on. I truly believe he was about to walk away. It wasn't part of the joke. The attention went to Amy for just a second. She got one question, I think, after he got there. And he's like, "Oh, my time's up." And he got up to walk away. And I think they literally were trying to stop him and pull him back. And his team's over there on the side going, no, sit down. Because you can even see, like, the awkwardness when he sat back down. He's like, "Am I still supposed to be here?" He doesn't have a clue where he's at, what he's doing. Seth and Amy are trying to do everything they can to cover up this poor guy, man, I feel bad for him. I honestly do. Let's look at this one.
Welcome back to Late Night. We're here with President Joe Biden. You mentioned some classified materials, some documents recently leaked, some classified documents. And this isn't a gotcha show, but I do want to ask about it, that says you are currently 81 years old.
Who the hell told you that?
Yeah,
That's classified.
that's classified. All jokes aside, according to recent polling, this is a real concern for American voters. How do you address that concern going forward as you come up to the 2024 election?
Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, two things there. One, you can't justify that you're an old man by pointing at somebody else and saying, well, they're old too. No. Trump is almost as old as Biden as far as actual age goes. As far as appearance and cognitive abilities there, they are decades apart. Biden is long gone, but the left is going to keep pushing that he's gone. Like with this lie right here, this is a lie. Trump didn't forget his wife's name. Joe Biden forgot his wife's name. He got his wife and his sister confused. I think he got the two of them confused or something like that. You know, several when he was running for president. So this was 4 years ago almost, right? Or maybe it was 4 years ago. He got his wife and his sister confused and blamed them. Like, oh, you guys swap sides. I mean, no, he got them confused. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. What he is referencing as far as Trump goes, and this was quickly, sorry, Mike Obama. As far, don't do it. What he's referencing is Trump was at a rally. It was a CPAC or whatever. And he was talking about how the people loved Melania. He said his wife. He didn't say Melania's name. He says, they love the first lady. And then everybody stood, standing ovation. He looks out in the crowd. He sees the two people, the couple that's running the CPAC, right? And he's like, check it out. See how they respond to the first lady, right? And he acknowledges the woman whose name is Mercedes Schlapp. He acknowledges her by her name. He looks around and he goes, hey, Mercedes. He wasn't calling Melania Mercedes. Trust me. First of all, Donald Trump knows what a Mercedes is. He probably knows who Mercedes is pretty good. And he definitely knows who Melania is. Most all of us really know who Melania is. You know what I'm saying? That's not somebody you forget. Moving on. Sorry about that, Mr. Trump. Moving on. Let's next section here.
and I really mean this sincerely. I think it's about the future. And every single thing we've done, I think we've got some good things done. Everything, and they told us we couldn't get them done because things were so divided. And but I think everything we've gotten done, he's just frontally stated he wants to do away with if he gets elected. And I really think his views on where to take America are older than, anyway, I don't want to get going.
That man has no idea what he's talking about. Not one thing was said. Not one thing was said there. We did some things. We got some things done. They didn't think we can get some things done, but we got some things done. He has no idea. He's sounding like Kamala Harris right there with all the word salads that she does and everything. He has no freaking clue. This guy can't stay on task to save his life. Jeez. All right. Just a few more and we'll move on with this segment. Sorry, but I got to point all this out. This is stupid.
Because I feel like we live in such crazy times that is one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish the...
Flip it and reverse it. He asked him what the 2024 agenda was. Let me back up a little bit so you can hear him ask that.
Look, the 2020 agenda is...
Not far
We
enough.
live in such crazy times that is one of the things I
Still
feel...
not far enough. Let's get right
We
here.
even got an immigration bill that passed in the Senate but never got taken up in the House. And
It's 'cause it's stupid.
what would you want to do? What's your 2024 agenda? Because I feel like we live in
2024
such
agenda. He even
crazy times
says that
that
to
is
him.
one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish...
This dude has no idea what year it is. And I'm not saying that like that's a slip. He genuinely has no idea. He still tells people he's running for the Senate. Not as a joke. He has no idea what year it is. He has no idea what's going on. And people want to vote for this dude. Next one.
The job. For example, we're now in a position where we have the strongest economy of any major nation in the world, number one. We got a way to go yet. Inflation is down, 880,000 manufacturing jobs.
False.
You know, we have 14 million new jobs.
False.
The unemployment rate is the lowest it's been for the longest time.
Questionable.
We're building wealth for people. But we have to do more. First thing I have to do is stop it from being.
Yeah, we do have to do more. And we got to start telling the truth. This administration is absolutely loving the idea that that COVID happened, because they are taking credit for jobs that returned after COVID as new jobs created. They're overinflating the numbers, kind of like our inflation is right now. And he's underinflating inflation. I mean, yes, when you look at the whole scope of inflation per like income or wealth or whatever metric that they use for that, it looks like it's better. But when you ask most Americans, normal people's wages are not going up at the rate that some of the, higher end folks are, right? But eggs cost the same, bacon costs the same, toilet paper costs the same for us and them. It's significantly more of a percentage of our overall income or savings or whatever than it is theirs. It's not impacting everybody the same. And I will tell you, the economy, inflation, is not as good as what he's claiming, or his entire administration. They are lying to you. This is what they do. They lie to you more and more, especially as it's getting to an election. And I want to point this out too, and I meant to point this out earlier because it was a better shot of it, but if you look right here, one thing that I noticed early on is he's wearing a pin that's got the American flag and the Ukraine flag. I can't see it super duper close. It almost looks like the Ukraine flag is in front of the American flag the way it is. I could be wrong there. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not going to say that definitively. But whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, I think it is absolutely disgraceful for the President of the United States of America to wear a pin of a foreign flag, either alone or along with the American flag. Like, who are you the president of? Why are you? I wouldn't dig it if Trump did it. I don't dig it with him doing it. I'm just pointing that out there. Not even going to get into conspiracy theories, as we call it, reality, of why so many politicians are all about Ukraine and protecting them and protecting a lot of the information that they have over there. How many sons and daughters and nieces and nephews and folks that were related to politicians had corrupt jobs in Ukraine that were used for money laundering and funneling of power and stuff. I'm not going there in this one, but let that sit. All right, a little bit more. Where we at? 20.
You can't get aid for Ukraine passed.
Speaking of
and
Ukraine.
it seemed like for a long time, the American people agreed that Russia was the threat. And all of a sudden now you see a Republican Party that is basically refusing to aid Ukraine in their fight against. Seems like Donald Trump is saying Russia can do whatever they want to NATO countries. Are you shocked?
That's what he is saying. He's been saying it all along. He's been saying it when he ran the last time. Look.
To that point, he was saying it when he ran last time. Kinda. Here's the thing. They keep talking about what he said that he did last time. He made the NATO members pay their fair share. He's saying, why am I going to send American tax dollars to your country, soldiers, American lives to your country to protect you when you're not even doing the bare minimum of paying your fair share? Trump said that he told them that when he went to NATO and he went to the folks that were part of that. And they said, well, what are you going to do if someone invades us? He goes, well, I'm going to let them. If you're not paying your fair share, you're not, coming to the table equally, but you want us to give everything. It's not going to happen. I'll even encourage them to, attack you or whatever. I don't care. That's what he said then to get them to pay up. It's different than them cheering on Russia right now to attack Ukraine. That's not the same thing, but that's what they keep using because they are dishonest and they will lie to you and they will all get on board with that. Just like with the Melania Mercedes thing. It was funny because I was trying to look up Mercedes' name for the show. And when I type in Melania, I think I typed in Trump, Mercedes, PAC or something like that, all the first results pull up are the already debunked, but they're still there, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, all these guys saying that he messed up Melania's name. They control the narrative. They control the media. They control, Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Well, maybe not Twitter anymore, but they control so much. So they control they control the media, the information, and the flow of that information. They have so much power, and they're all behind this guy and trying to keep Trump out. And for those of you that are fence sitters or not quite sure how you're going to vote, ask yourself why the establishment is so heavy-handed in doing everything they can to keep Trump from being reelected. They did everything they could get him to avoid him getting elected in the first place, talking about impeachment before he was ever even elected. And then they did it twice off some BS charges, right? And ask yourself why. All right, here's a little bit more. We got, I think, two or three more stops, and we'll be done.
He talked about how he wants to be a dictator on day one, but only day one. You are someone who has dealt with dictators over the years. It does seem as though democracy, in vague terms somehow, is not easy for us to grasp. Having dealt with dictators, what do you see in a world where democracy is actually at risk in a way it might be in this election?
The first thing dictators do, is they disregard whatever the rule of the law is. They just disregard it. Here's the guy who says he thinks he can change the Constitution and ignore it. Just ignore portions of the Constitution. Here's the guy who talks about retribution. Here's the guy, look.
All right, retribution. We'll go backwards on this. Retribution. They're worried that Trump's going to go in and arrest his political opponents and go after them. What are they doing right now? You got journalists that weren't even at January 6th getting jailed. You got people that were at January 6th that were peaceful protesters. Maybe they stepped onto grounds they weren't supposed to, but they didn't hurt anybody. And they're spending years in jail. Some of them are still in jail right now and hadn't even had a trial. In this country, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? But that's not what they're doing. And they are going after their political opponents. Was it 91 indictments or something like that against Trump? I mean, they are going hard and heavy after their political opponents, but they're going to project like they do on a lot. I'm going to put a segment together about all that projection and stuff. They're projecting that and saying that Trump's going to do it. Well, they're already doing it. Number one, there's that. Number two, Trump doesn't want to really be a dictator. He said that just to kind of stir the pot, right? But if we're going to talk about being a dictator, Biden signed 42 executive orders in his first 100 days, which is more than any other president since Harry Truman. So if we're talking about, not going through Congress or getting around Declaration of Independence or constitutions or, like I said, the House or Senate or whoever, we're going to do everything we can to avoid democracy, as they say. Well, an easy way to just, be heavy-handed with that executive order. 42 executive orders in the first 100 days. Many of those were in the first day or two. We already know that from the pipelines, the oil reserves, and all this and that he had a hand in, which, according to them, has nothing to do with the rise in fuel costs. But we're not stupid. We know. Let's go back to this one, because he's fixing to get into one that's been debunked so many times, and he's still running with it, and people believe it.
Guy talks about retribution. Here's the guy. Look, you have the thousands of people who stormed the Capitol. They're insurrectionists. 2 cops died. Other people were badly hurt. And what did he say?
BS. Do you have people that stormed the Capitol? Yes. And people on the right, conservatives, fellow conservatives, whatever, are going to say that it was a peaceful protest. It wasn't. There were people that stormed the Capitol. There were people that broke windows, broke down doors, went where they weren't supposed to go, stole property that they weren't supposed to steal. But it was a mostly peaceful protest, or mostly full. God, I'm not feeling good, guys. Please bear with me. Hopefully I'll be back on it next week. But it was definitely a mostly peaceful protest, meaning that there were more people being peaceful than there were being, riotous and obscure with what they were doing in their actions. But there were still people doing that. So the people on the right have to understand, no, it was not a completely peaceful protest. Absolutely not at all. But the left wants to say it's the worst day ever and it was an insurrection. Nobody went in there to take over anything. They were protesting the delegates that were voting. They were protesting an election that I know it's questionable whether you can talk about it or not on social media, but there's never been an election that was so questionable that I know of, right? I mean, you had the little chart where, you know, everybody's graphing together, and then all of a sudden, it was just in the middle of the night, one particular candidate just randomly got 100% of votes in certain areas and went up and beat Trump. And then you had polling places putting up cardboard or you know, whatever it was, foam up on the windows, blocking it so people couldn't see them counting and stuff. And then in my home state of Georgia, there was a pipe burst, but there never really was a pipe burst. And there were cameras showing that still, you know, stuff was happening in there. You know, right or wrong, it's extremely questionable, and people have the right to question their elections, to question whether they're free and fair and legit. They did it in 2016 when Trump was elected, and then they act like it's the worst thing ever to question it in 2020, even though there's significantly more questionable things that happened for 2020. They've lost their mind. And then the last thing I want to say about this one before I show the little final clip we're going to look at is 2 cops did not die. No cops died on January 6th or because of January 6th. This is a lie. This is a lie. A cop did die of natural causes later that were unrelated to January 6th. Okay? No one died from January 6th except for one person. That was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed woman who was climbing through a window, shouldn't have been, but she was shot and killed by Capitol Police. He won't say her name, just like he won't say Laken Riley's, because they don't want to count that, because it doesn't help them. It doesn't benefit them. Last little segment right here, and we'll get on out of here.
Biden. Help Biden. It's not about Biden. It's about the United States of America. And look, I don't want to get started.
They think he's going after Trump, but I think he knows what he's talking about, because that crowd is a Seth Meyers crowd. It's a Joe Biden crowd. You know, they have no idea what's going on. And what's funny is Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. He's completely lost it. But yeah, he has no idea where he was going with that. And you see that all the time. When he doesn't have his teleprompters, he doesn't have people telling him what to say, his note cards or whatever. He has no idea what he's talking about, where he's going. Look, links to both of the videos are going to be down below. Go check them out. I'm not going to play the whole thing of either one of them. Go check him out if you want to. It is Seth Meyers, so keep in mind 2 things. 1, nobody watches Seth Meyers. And 2, the 12 people that do watch Seth Meyers have all commented in the comment section. So when I did scroll through there to see just what were people's thoughts. Now, if this had been on a different channel, you might have got some more thoughts, kind of like what I have or what you probably have. But because this was on Seth Meyers' YouTube page, they are all brainwashed into the Biden cult, into the cult of the left, as you may want to consider it. We can compare his age to Trump, absolutely, but we can't deny the difference in cognitive decline. This man is not well. Shame on his handlers for continuing to push him out there. Shame on the DNC for supporting this elderly abuse is all I can call it, right? And this man should be in a nursing home somewhere, not in the White House, being the commander-in-chief with the nuclear codes. But people are wanting to put him back in there because of mean tweets from Trump or whatever. If you weren't already convinced, I hope this segment helped you determine for yourself, come to the realization that there's absolutely something wrong with Joe.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.